Oh yeah. I mean, you could lead off with it if you'd like.
No, dude. Oh my God. Send it directly. Be like, hey,
Yeah.
this is what I feel.
All right. Welcome everyone to the fifth episode of Unscripted Strength. My
Yeah,
name
episode
is
number 5.
Day.
I'm
I
Ethan.
know. Yeah, and we're just gonna start talking like we normally do and see where it takes us.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a couple things we want to talk about today,
Yeah.
right? A
Yeah,
few,
a
a
few
few, a few, a few.
for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, and obviously we're always gonna start off talking about how our training is going. So Ethan, how's your training going?
God, I found out treadmills can kiss my ass, honestly. That was awful. I don't like
Just
that.
all
I
treadmills or
no, these stupid curved treadmills are just I
yeah.
mean, the nightmare of my life. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It's just really frustrating because I'm trying to get mileage in for this marathon training, and I realized that I don't want to run in the heat all the time. So I was like, oh, I'll just go run at someone else's treadmill. And it turns out it's way harder to run on a treadmill than it is on the ground. And I didn't know that because I don't run. Because running, as I've said in many stories, is dumb and stupid. And if you like running, I mean, by logic, you're also dumb and stupid. So I didn't know that treadmills were awful. But that's kind of where my training's going good, minus the treadmill event. I ran 6 miles on a treadmill and I hated it.
That's a lot to do. And
Yeah.
it's not just any like motorized treadmill. It's not like a normal treadmill. It's the curved ones like you were saying, unmotorized, which are just like yeah, you're running through mud essentially. It just
Yeah.
doesn't feel good.
And you
Does
don't
not.
realize if you suck at running like I do, and you don't have like a really good cadence, if you move back on the treadmill at all, it slows down. And then like
Yeah.
if you change your like angle at all, it changes your pace by a crazy amount. So, I'd get tired and start to stand up a little taller and like move back on the treadmill, and I'd go from like a 14-minute pace, which was incorrect anyway, to like a fucking 20-minute pace. All of a sudden it's like I'm walking and then I'm just trying to run. It is so frustrating. But my training's going well. My knees feel better.
Good.
My main one of my main leg days is a heavy split squat isometric, and that feels really good. I did that today actually for 2 sets at 225 pounds for 2 sets of 20 seconds each leg, and then 1 set of 10 seconds each leg because my legs were fried. But training's going well, all in
That's
all.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's
nothing
awesome.
hurts. My feet don't hurt, which is good. My knees only hurt when I really deep squat right now, which is probably because I have a torn meniscus somewhere in there floating around, hanging out, but whatever.
Just chilling in there.
Who needs it? How's
Did
your
you go?
training going? Oh,
Oh,
you asked me the question first. I'll answer it.
yeah, yeah. So, did you go like shopping for shoes, or did you just have a pair of shoes and you're just like, hey, I'm gonna roll with these?
Did we talk about this at all?
I don't know. I don't think so. Because based on what I know about you, I feel like you just had a pair of like shoes laying around that are like used, and you're just like, you know what, these fit and they work.
You're not too far off. I'll be honest. I have a pair of Ultras that are running shoes that I
Hmm.
bought for walking in the gym with no intention of running in them. And then when I started running, I was like, oh, this will be perfect. But I also have a pair of nicer Ultras that are like, why can't I ever think about this? Like off-road and on-road, like hybrid shoes. Like you can do um, trail running
Okay.
in them.
Trail running. Okay.
And I didn't. Apparently, you runners can get fitted for shoes. Who knew? Again, with the treadmill stuff, you just don't know this information. So I bought my father-in-law gifted them to me because he had a million REI points. And so we went, and instead of going somewhere and talking to someone about what kind of running shoe I should have, I just bought these. And I think they're okay. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But this is a fun running fact for everyone about shoes if you're not a runner. If you start running and you think tying your shoes really tight is a good idea, it's really not, because you will compress the nerve on the top of your foot and the whole thing goes numb. And I do that to myself all the time. So my friend Jose at one point was like, Ethan, what are you doing? My shoes are normally untied. basically. And I was like, oh, so I tried that the other day. No numb feet. So you live and
Amazing.
you learn. Yeah,
Yeah, that
absolutely.
is amazing. That is awesome.
So yeah, to answer your question, I kind of just was like, yeah, these should work.
Hey, they're
Yeah,
running shoes. Yeah.
yeah. So how's your training going?
It's good. It's I'm trying to think if there's been any hiccups. There haven't been many hiccups. I wasn't feeling too great last week, but it's kind of like just pushing through and all that. Today when I was lifting for upper body, I was like, I don't know why. Maybe it was yesterday's run and it's just fatigue throughout the whole body, but like my upper body day today was trash. So like normally I would overhead press, single arm Z press a certain weight, and I was not able to do that today, not even close. So I just lowered the weight and was like, this is what we're rolling with. And I still pushed it to like RP 8, 9, but it was just with the lower weight because I didn't have it in me today. So I was like, all right, like that kind of gave the rest of the workout like foreshadowed how I was gonna feel for the rest of it, and I was like, it was pretty spot on. I was like, all right, today's not the day, so just had to lower the weight on everything.
Well, that's fun. I know that that's your favorite thing to do is lower the weight and
Yeah.
feel like you're doing a great job.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I was frustrated. I'm saying it right now, like so calmly, like, yeah, I lowered the weight. I was very frustrated.
Yeah.
And I still tried to push it on the first set, and then after I was like, it's just not happening. And then even when I lowered the weight, it felt very heavy. So I was like, okay, that's just going to be the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was fine overall. But I think that this week I'm going to feel it. So I feel like that's going to be the theme this week, and I'm not trying to just succumb to how I felt today and just let that dictate. But I do think it's like kind of foreshadowing, like, hey, you're at that time.
Maybe we're moving downhill for a little bit.
Yeah, like take it easy, take it easy.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, fun. Okay, so how many days a week are you training right now?
still doing the same. So,
Okay.
yeah, what I've been doing. So, essentially 5 to 6 days of like conditioning work, 4 of the days running, 2 days of cross training stuff. And that works out well. And maybe this week I'll bring down the volume of that, like time per session. I'll still keep the frequency, but the time per session will go down. And then lifting will be 4 to 5 times. And again, same thing. I'll keep it the same, all the same movements and all that, but I'll probably bring down the volume. So I'll still try to keep intensity if I can. If I'm not able to move the weight as I normally do, I'll bring down the weight, but still keep intensity. So I'm still reaching RPE 8, 9, and then maybe cut down a little bit of volume.
Fun. For
Yeah.
anyone listening, RPE is rate of perceived exertion, which just means how hard is it on a scale of 1 to 10? I think is the
Yeah.
easiest way to say it. I mean, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
A 10 is like, I'm going to die if I do this again, or I can't do it again, and then everything below that is less than that. So a 5 is like, meh,
Yeah.
nothing really happened there. And then most exercises for strength training is between like a 7 and a 9 most of the time, right? I mean,
Right.
if you're doing
That's
anything
what I
less than
would
that,
say.
you're just warming up.
Yeah.
But then running, differently so, you try to do a lot of those at like 3 to 5, and somehow
Yeah.
people can run that way, but that's the goal, people.
Yeah. It's interesting, right? It's a different mindset with
Oh my
running,
God.
or if you're doing any endurance work, where it's like,
Yeah.
it's supposed to feel fairly easy for the most part, and you're just like accumulating a lot of volume, and a lot of it's supposed to feel easy. And I'm sure you're having a hard time with that. I had a hard time with that because I'm like, what do you mean I should, like, my heart rate, like the
Oh
effort level,
yeah.
like, it's like I should be kind of gasping for air towards the end of it. That was a hard thing for me to wrap my head around because, like, I was running at threshold for most of my runs for the first few weeks because I'm like, that's the level of effort that I should be giving. I'm working out, I'm training, I should be going at that. And then I realize I'm training at my threshold level, and that's not conducive to what you want, and you're not going to get anywhere with that. You're just fatiguing yourself chronically, and
Hmm.
just putting yourself in a hole.
Yeah, I mean, if one more person tells me I the heart rate training, I think I'm just done with. I can't do. It drives
It's
me
hard.
fucking crazy.
It's
If someone else tells me that I should keep my heart rate while running at 140, I'm going to pull your fingernails off one by one. I'm not. I'll do it. Say it to me and then stay around. I'll do it because it just doesn't happen. I mean, like you were saying, I hit my hard breathing in the first like 10 minutes.
hmm
There's no way. The slowness I would have to run to get myself into 140 heart rate and stay there is like a 16 and a half minute pace right now. It's probably better because the last time I did that, and I felt like I was walking.
yeah.
And it was like, this is embarrassing. I could speed walk faster than this.
Yeah,
So,
and you clearly could go at a faster pace and still
yeah.
feel like it's easy. It's just your heart rate's not going to reflect that. It's going to reflect a
Hmm.
little higher. And I think people get so caught up into the heart rate zones. And, there's a lot of good research and science behind it, backing it. But it's, there are so many factors playing into it. It varies so much with other things going on, like your hydration status, your nutrition, your stressors, how
Yeah.
what time of day you're training, all this stuff, the temperature, you know, that it's hard to kind of be consistent with using heart rate training, especially like when you're starting off. Like it takes a while for your body to adapt and learn how to run at 130, 140 beats per minute. Where
Yeah.
like, elite runners, elite endurance athletes, yeah, they can do it, but they're elite in that. Like
Yeah.
that's literally their life is they're athletes. That's what they do. But, recreational runners, that's hard. That's a hard thing
Yeah.
to do.
I find the fitness industry around running is worse than the fitness industry around exercise stuff. Like, I feel like there are a few years back where they're like like everything's idealized. Like you're supposed to spend 80/20 and da, 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 da. Like 80/20 is supposed to be like 80% of it is an easy work zone 2 because they're still using zones, and then 20% of it is like, pace work or interval work or whatever. And it's like, what is zone 2 mean to someone who, is not a runner?
Yeah.
Nothing. It means nothing. It means go like, and they don't say things like, "Oh, just go put a heavy backpack on and go on a hike for a long time." That's your zone two, not
Yeah.
running. But then they're like, "Well, you got to get the running miles in for your feet and your knees." And it's like, yeah, absolutely. But why are I don't know. It just seems like a lot of the stuff they say, again, the nuance is gone, and you're telling people to do something that is just not possible to do. I mean, every runner at the gym I've talked to who's like new to it or has been starting into it is like, yeah, it's so hard. What do you mean? It's like, yeah, I know. It's really difficult. But and maybe some people, I think maybe sometimes in my head I'm like, there's some folks out there that are like, running's so easy. What are you talking about? You just
Yeah.
go run, and I can run for 2 hours without thinking about it. It's like, yeah, cool story, dude. I cannot do that.
Yeah. I mean, you'll definitely meet those people. Have you ever gone to a running club?
No, no.
Yeah.
A bunch of the people at the gym invite me to it, but
Yeah.
they looked at me and were like, "No, dude, it'll be easy, like a mile warm up." And I was like, "Bro, what are we talking about? If I do a mile warm up with you at like a 9 minute pace, I'm gonna throw up on you." I could probably do that right now, but 3, 4 weeks ago, I was like, no, the mile warm up with you guys is gonna be awful.
Yeah. And I think
But
that's where a lot of disconnect is with the running community. But it's kind of funny. Yeah. Because oh, like I remember there was a post you sent me about a particular social media influencer who's very educational, but he was saying like most men should be running a 6 minute mile.
oh yeah,
And
yeah,
it's like, I know a lot of men who can do that, yes, but they're also very young, elite athletes type. I'm not going to go around and think like the average guy should be able to
oh
do that
my
because that is
God,
like wild to me, you know?
a
That,
6 minute mile?
yeah, that's
That
wild
is
for like an
so
average
fast.
person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
It would be great if that was like the norm, but
yeah,
I don't
I
think that people are
understand the
built to do it.
sentiment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I think if people could run, I think the better way for him to have said that is if you can't run a continuous mile, like without pausing, you're you're missing the point.
yeah.
That's a fair statement. And if you want to give him like a 13 or 12-minute cutoff, fine. If someone can run a continuous mile relatively comfortable, I think you're doing much better than most people. But a 6-minute mile is so fast.
Yeah.
So fast. It's crazy. There's no way.
Yeah. Because if you think about it, like, if I'm thinking about Air Force standards for the mile and a half run, a 6 minute mile for a mile and a half, which is 9 minutes or so, um, that's like the perfect score to get a perfect score in the Air
Yeah.
Force test for men who are between the ages of 18 and 25, I believe that's the
Mhm.
range. So it's like, okay, so in the military, young men, that's the perfect score. And not
Mhm.
many of them are doing it. Granted, it's
Yeah.
the Air Force, not everyone's super fit or whatever,
Yeah.
but it's not what I'm trying to say is not common thing, not a common
Yeah.
thing to find. But
No, and and I don't know. Maybe maybe the our I'm trying to say this nicely. Like our standards in the US of what physical fitness levels should be are skewed because of how low they are in general.
yeah,
So that hearing that, because I do think he said if you're in your early to mid 20s, I maybe just said 20s, but yeah, I mean, I bet if you took 5,000 men in their mid 20s, I would maybe 20 of them can do a 6-minute mile.
yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, not many. You know what was a really good video that I enjoyed because it was realistic? Was I think it was posted like a month or two ago by Chris Bumstead. So for those of you
Hmm.
who don't know, Chris Bumstead's a very well-known bodybuilder, has won at the highest level multiple years in a row, and is like undisputedly one of the best bodybuilders, in the same realm as Arnold Schwarzenegger. He posted a video recently of him doing an all-out mile, how fast he can run a mile. And big dude, right? Full of muscle. And he ran it at 10-minute mile. And I thought it was going to be like something, because fitness influencers, a lot of them, they just come out of nowhere and they're like, oh, I did a 6-minute mile. But his was a 10-minute mile. And I was like, okay, like that's believable. I know if that guy trains, like he's so elite, he could run super fast and probably bring down that time super drastically. But it was
Hmm.
refreshing to see someone well known in the fitness industry who had something like realistic.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's actually kind of nice. Like, it wasn't something absurd. So I think it was very believable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think, and maybe it has to be this way, is that when you're trying to um, influence, you have to do it in a way that's like, grabs attention. And
Yeah.
as like it, I don't know, and maybe that is like an issue that we'll have is like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, everyone should be able to squat 315. Every guy from the age of 16 to 35 should squat 315. It's like, I I said this on the last one. We're just trying to get people to adhere to exercise. And I think that gets lost in translation and all these fitness influencers whose ideas they put in your head are like, you have to do everything perfect. You have to be perfect. You have to do like all these crazy standards when it's like, why aren't we just trying to help people like just stay working out all the time? Like just keep exercising. And I know like setting goals is a thing, but realistic goals is the cornerstone of that. And I just don't think it's realistic to expect like a 32-year-old male. Like I'm sure the demographic of people who watch this kind of stuff, like the stuff we are into, is obviously our age demographic, but like what, 22 to like 40? Like why
Yeah.
why? we're asking a 35-year-old man with a family and kids and a job, like, you need to go train hard enough to squat 2 times your body weight. It's like, what are we talking? Like that? I said this to someone at the gym the other day. No one accidentally squatted 400 pounds. Like
Yeah.
no gym goer just like is like, oh yeah. And if they do, they know why. Like you were just built that way. But most people don't accidentally squat 2 times their body weight. That is not something you just like stumble upon and you're like, "Oh yeah, I just was squatting 1 or 2 times a week relatively casually. RPE and my difficulty level was like a 6 or a 7 and I'm squatting 400 pounds." That's not happening. Like, and it just I don't know. It just frustrates me sometimes because it's like I'm someone who's in the weeds dealing with people who are just like trying to stay and exercise, and I just like I get these things all the time. It's like, what about this and what about that? And it's like, what about this? It's like, can we just commit to 3 days a week and find a goal that's like really accessible to you and makes sense and we can hit, and then we can talk about whether or not we can want to squat 400 pounds or twice your body weight. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just frustrating. It's like it's a goal that's like their life is not about exercising. And people who want to squat 2.5 times their body weight, that is your hobby and or life.
Yeah.
Like a 6 minute mile. What casual person just goes to a track to train for a 6 minute fucking mile? No one. And again, I don't think you run a 6 minute mile on accident. Like you don't just wake up one day from some jogging training and you're like, hey, let me go run a 6 minute mile real quick.
Yeah. And
So that's my rant about that. Sorry.
at the-
Drives me nuts.
yeah, it's these unrealistic expectations. But I think one thing that I've found with CrossFit that works really well is that there's no a lot of times when you're going to CrossFit classes, there's not as much of like a progressive structure from
Hmm.
week to week. The focus is really, hey, come in a few times a week, get a workout in with a community of people who are pushing you, and just work
Hmm.
hard.
Yeah.
That's it. Show up, work hard, do the workout. You're going to be doing different things every week. Who cares? Like,
Yeah.
and people progress. Like, people are losing weight, people are getting stronger, people are performing better, people are able to run longer, and that's where they really hit like the nail on the head, is they're able to get people to like drink the Kool-Aid
Hmm.
and commit to those things, and just, hey, like, you don't even have to spend more than an hour. Like, it's an hour class, you're not even working out the whole hour. There's a warm-up portion, there's a cool down portion, right? Same thing with like the Metafit classes at Block, and it's just like, hey, come work out a few times a week with a community of people. They love
Yeah.
that. It's easy. It's easy to do. You don't have to think. You're not worried because you're not so focused on progression as
Hmm.
much from week to week because there's more variance. So
Hmm.
it's like you're not hyper focused on that stuff, and you just show up to work hard,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah. I,
works.
I, I fully agree with that. And I think we've said this on multiple podcasts now, but we both think that like people just need to like show up and be consistent. And then after that is just like work really hard. At like be consistent is number one. Consistency beats anything. Like to Dave's point about like CrossFit builds a community and why they did so popular is because people showed up for each other. And it like I think CrossFit was in cross training is probably like the best style of training for the most people, like just flat out. And then it
Yeah.
got weird when it was like competition and you were trying to have like Dave from accounting who's like 48 and never did anything athletic max out a clean after a 35-minute workout. Then, shit starts to get a little squirrely, but yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like be consistent and then just train hard. And if it turns out you really like training hard, yeah, let's try to squat this. Let's try to like set these big goals. But I don't know. It's like, and maybe I'm being naive, but like even for me, like my goal and my big goal is just being consistent with training. Because it's like, what am I training for? What am I doing? And I try to think like, if I'm just like a normal person who has a normal job, like I work in a gym, so it's totally different for me. But when I wasn't working in a gym and before I got into exercise, like I was, it's just like everyone else. Like, how do I stay consistent? It's like that's the goal. I don't know. Sometimes chasing some arbitrary thing that you make up doesn't feel like it matters. And then it's like we try to make these goals where it's like squat 400, do this, do this, do this, do this. When it's like, how can we just like be consistent? Like that's the thing we need to do. That's the goal we need to hit. Can you come 30 times this month? You know, like, or 25, whatever it is. Can you do that? Can you commit to that? That's the goal. And let's achieve that goal. And then once we do that a bunch, let's do something else. But I need you in the gym all the time to do the thing you want to do. Because if you show up once a week and work half-ass, I don't care about your goal to squat 400 pounds. You're not going to do it.
Yeah.
You got to show up.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm feisty today, I guess.
Yeah, no,
Got me going.
I feel the passion. I feel the passion.
I just think we
Yeah.
focus on the wrong thing sometimes. Like, I just need you to come to the gym. Just show up to the fucking gym sometimes.
Right. I think, obviously, I'm not like a dietitian or anything, but I feel like they also have the same perspective, experience, you know, in that realm where it's like, I don't need you to focus on, you know, this. I need you to just eat consistently, eat well, eat what, you know, whatever they tell you to, however that works, and get your protein in consistently.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a lot of that's in a lot of those things are similar across the board, not just with fitness and nutrition.
I think the controversial thing I have to say about this is that people want the thing. They don't want to do the work for the thing. They have this like idealized version of the thing at the end of the road. But then when it comes to going down that road, it's hard for people to commit to that. And I think that maybe setting, like, obviously you can set better realistic goals. Like, hey, if you're really serious about this, let's work on squatting 105 this week or in 2 weeks. And, you know, like, constant work towards that goal. And that's fine. Like, you got to have small things in the middle. But people get so focused on the end of the road, they forget you have to do so much work there. Like, to your point of nutrition, it's like, you know, people are like, I cut all the red 40 out of my diet. And you're like, do you eat vegetables? And they're like, no. And you're like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
What do you mean you don't eat vegetables? I'm like, yeah, but listen, I haven't had red 40 in 4 weeks. And I'm like, if you hit your protein numbers? I'm like, no, I'm trying to cut red 40 out, dude. And you're like, okay, great.
Yeah.
That's the angle we're taking. I love it. Do you cut the red 40 out? But just remember, we have a lot of other things that matter. So
Yeah. I wish you could just like cut and paste in here like a rant by Carmen, because I'm sure she has.
Oh yeah.
She has that from her side of the world.
Yeah. And you know, like I think Carmen opened my eyes to something of like people are trying to do something for themselves, and that is positive when they're doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then we can guide them to like, hey, maybe if you haven't had fiber in 3 weeks, we try that, you know?
Yeah.
You know? You know, everyone wants a nice butt. And then I try to give them like heavy lunges, and they're like, I'm not doing this. I'm like, well, you want that? This shit sucks. It is not fun. You want your ass to be sore for the next 4 months? This is what you have to do. It's not a good time. You know, everyone who's got a real big, nice, muscular butt will tell you it is awful. No one likes doing it.
Yeah.
The outcome's cool, but you know, it's any muscle. It's like the work to get there is just stupid unless you're like someone who has crazy good genetics. It's not, sometimes it's not fun to do the work. It's hard. I don't like running. I like the outcome of the run and being like I'm doing better, but God, while I'm doing it, I'm so miserable sometimes. Like, why am I doing this? Who convinced me?
Oh
it was
yeah,
me.
especially
I did
if you're doing it like early mornings. I think that's the biggest thing between running and lifting. In early mornings, it's like I could wake up and within 5 minutes be lifting.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't mind doing that. But waking up to run is like a different feeling. It's like I'm actually needing a little bit more time to just kind of like just get up. Yeah. I'm not as enthusiastic to do it as I would be if I were lifting in the morning. It just doesn't feel as great. It's like I have to wake up to run. That's not fun. Especially if you have a threshold run or a tempo run or something a little bit more of a higher intensity at a higher pace and early in the mornings. It's like, that is the worst. But then like, I think people have this idea that they are really hard workers, and I think that's normal. I think most people
Hmm.
have this idea that they're really hard workers, and I do think that's a relative thing, right? Like, are
Yeah.
you a hard worker relative to your situation? Um, so naturally, everyone's thinking, "Hey, I'm working hard. I'm doing the work. I'm gonna get there." But then I think that's why it's good to surround yourself with people who you see them and you're like, "Holy shit!"
You're like,
Like,
oh no.
that's a workhorse. I'm literally
You're
like
like, oh
nothing.
shit.
Like, I'm
What am I
doing nothing.
doing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that's where I'm super fortunate, where I'm surrounded by some like amazing athletes who just freaking like they just go like all the stuff is just like nothing to them, and I'm just like, well, like I can't complain that I have like an 8 mile run this morning. Like they just went up Mount Lemon.
Yeah.
Like I can't even. I know it's like you're not supposed to compare your journey, but at the same time, it gives me perspective as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, comparing your journey and making it a negative thing rather than using it as like a window into your, what maybe you could try harder, do better, try something different. I
Yeah.
think that's different. I think people have a hard time doing that. I think people have a terrible time not beating themselves up about it. But like even listening to like what you said about your training volume and to the point of that you just made, like training can be sure, comparison can be bad. I did have the thought when you were saying how many days a week and how many sessions you train, where I was like, I wonder if I could handle more, you know? Because
Yeah.
right now I'm doing 2 to 3 lifts a week and 3 runs a week. Right now, 3 to 4 runs a week, which is 6 total workouts, which is not even the bottom edge of your volume. The bottom edge of your volume, I think, is 9 for the week, right? 9 sessions,
Yes.
give or take.
Yes. 9 sessions. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like between 5 and 6, between 4 and 5.
Right.
So the bottom edge of your volume is 3 more than the top line of mine. So when you were saying that, I was looking. I have my training plan sheet pulled up next to me and was looking at it. I was like, hmm, I wonder.
And then,
So
but then, yeah.
no, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
And then that, like, you start comparing yourself, and it's like, oh, maybe I can handle more.
Hmm.
And then being realistic too to what you have going on. Like, well, if I'm working this many hours on the floor, I have to be
Uh-huh.
actually there and present. I don't have flexibility around that. Maybe I have to do this, or maybe I could fit in an extra 30-minute here, and that's not going to interfere with personal time with my spouse.
Yeah.
And, all those things you have to consider. Where, like, sometimes I see athletes doing all these things, and I'm like, that's great, but like, also putting in perspective, like, I'm 31.
Hmm.
I live with my partner, like all that stuff, like different considerations. Have a full time job, so that's kind of hard. But at the same time, part of my full time job is I, there's a lot of flexibility to it in terms of working
Yeah.
from home, so that's nice too. So, um, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. Yeah. I do. And you're right. When I'm looking at how much you do, I do definitely take into account how much I'm on my feet and whatever. But I do think I don't know. Similar to what like, I want to touch on something you were saying about people think they work hard, and I think you're right. I think they do, and I think they are working hard. Like I
mm,
think it's like any other thing we do, there's an adaptation line. Like you can get better at it. You can do too much, and it messes you up. But I think
mm-hmm.
sometimes people don't fuck around and find out enough. Where it's like, here's how much I'm doing. Do I feel like it's too much? Like you kind of like think about it. You're like, I could handle more. Am I just being whiny about it? Like, am I not? And the other thing is like, am I not eating enough? Am I not sleeping enough? Those two things I can control. So if I could do that, like maybe I could train more. And
Yeah,
I have been liking training, and even like with work, like before I started working with Joseph, and like seeing how much you do, I was like, oh, I'm a hard worker. And then I got hired at Block and was like, I don't do anything. I do nothing, nothing at all. That's great. So, but then it was like you take a moment where you're like, well, I think about this all the time, where it's like, you don't want if you take the opinion of people that don't have a life you want to live, and you try to like put it on yourself, like you're not doing anything to benefit. So then I'm always like, what does Day do? What does Joseph do that I could implement that could make me better? And that's like the comparison thing where like instead of clashing those two things together, I'll run them in parallel. It's like, what does he do? How does he do it? What does she do? How does she do it? Like, I'm sure you're pretty regimented with sleep, would be my guess.
Pretty good with sleep. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Pretty
fucking
rich.
terrible. Like, I went to bed last night at 11. I'm going to try to go to bed tonight at 8.
Okay.
Terrible idea. The night
Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
like, I'll sleep in on the weekends. I go to bed at different times. Have I gotten a little better about nutrition? Yes. Did I eat 2 protein bars and 2 mozzarella sticks, cheese sticks, string cheese the other day? I did. That was my lunch. So
Amazing.
I know there's parts like we can get better at, and I think, just saying comparison is a thief of joy is true, but I think it's when you try to clash yours or judge yourself for it, rather than observe how hard someone works and be like, what can I implement that they do that I don't?
Yeah.
I know you sleep better than I do. I would have put my entire savings account that you at least have good sleep. Because if you're not doing the
Yeah.
nutrition like I am, and you're working as much as you are and working out, one of those has to be better. For sure, it's
Yeah.
the sleep. The biggest one you can lever on is the sleep.
Yeah.
So then it's like, okay, well, I gotta do that better. So if I'm gonna try to
Yeah.
train more, I gotta start doing better, and I have to sleep better. So run it in
Ex-
parallel and see what you can do better about yourself.
yeah. Exactly. Like you're saying. Sleep and nutrition. Sleep especially is like uh nature's performance enhancing drug, right?
I
So
know.
if you could optimize that, you're pretty good. And I struggled with it before. I've gotten a lot better now. So that's helped too. So yeah.
Sleep stuff.
Yeah. It's tough. It's easier when if you're living with someone, if you're, dating, married, whatever, if they're also on the same sleep schedule and they
Oh
like
yeah.
sleep as much as you do, it's golden. So
Mm.
um
I don't have
so
that.
that's nice, but I'm also just a
No.
sleepy person. I put my head on the pillow. I am out within like a minute. Like
Yeah.
once my head hits that pillow, like I'm done. Like nothing's waking me up. It's yeah. So it's pretty
Are you
nice.
are you grumpy when you wake up?
No, but when I wake up, it's like I don't. I'm really bad at having slow mornings. Like I wake up and it's like we're going.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I'm not gonna sit down and have like a cup of coffee. I'm not gonna scroll through my phone. It's like within 5 minutes, I'm warming up in the gym. And if I'm not working out in the morning, like within 5 minutes, I am here at my desk doing work. So it's like I just like to, once I'm up, I just go. I wouldn't really say I'm grumpy, but I'm not like talkative. I just want to get
You need to go
going.
get that purple ghost, dude. It's first thing. We're
Oh,
cracking the
dude.
ghost. Don't
Yeah,
forget about that.
yeah, I don't drink water when I wake up. I crack that open. Marley knows like by like 4ish every morning, she hears a and yep, and
That's
it's
that.
game
This kind
over.
of behavior is what I'm here for. You know. I mean, I think part of the like whole conversation of us starting this was to be honest about
Yeah.
what we do and not like you're saying, not be some idealized like Chris Bumstead putting out a 10-minute mile. I can run a
Yeah.
10. I can run faster. I can do better than that, you know?
It was so great. I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think as coaches, people expect us to be these like perfect, you know,
Yeah.
like people, like fitness people or life people. It's like, fuck no.
No. Half of the time I'm
No.
just like carrying a bunch of stuff and it's falling and I'm like, "Oh god, damn it.
Yeah.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
falling."
I don't
Um
sleep and I eat like a 9-year-old, so it's not really conducive. I know a
yeah.
lot of stuff about it, but sometimes my execution of it's terrible, just like everyone else,
Yeah.
you know? And you just keep going, you keep showing up, just doing it.
Yeah. So, I know earlier in our conversation we were talking about like when we started running, a lot of times we for the first few weeks we were running at like threshold
Hmm.
essentially, right? So I know right now you mentioned like we know enough about it, but our execution is terrible. And I feel like running was the same. At least when I started running, it was the same way. It was like I was just running hard every day and then just hope like hanging on until I couldn't hang on anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, did you start off that way too with your running? Like, did you start off, or did you know enough to be like, hey, I am going to go slow because I've heard that plenty of times from people to start running slow and just like accumulate volume? Or did you go out like too fast for too much for too long?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely not a um start slow kind of person. I thought I was starting slow. I think
Yeah.
I probably did, but I also I think I'm pretty good at putting up with quite a bit of uncomfortableness.
Mm-hmm.
So like I did a 5K. I hadn't run in like 15 years, and my first 5K was I don't know a few months ago, and I did 33 minutes, and I mean I was at like a 178 heart rate average. I had trained for it for like 3 weeks, and by that I mean I did the Murph. That was one of my run workouts. I did a workout like 6 days later, a run. It was like 2 miles. And then I must have done two more runs, and then I did the 5K. And then for some reason in my head, a mile doesn't feel long enough to me to be a workout if it's not really hard. So I normally just run like 3 to 5 miles. And when I first started, I would do like a slower pace, like a 13-minute pace or whatever. But even that was really hard for me. Like my first um, post on our training sheet is a 3 mile run at 169
Mm-hmm.
average at a 13:12 pace, which is really slow for 170 average. And recently I did a 6 mile run at like a 11:30 pace at 170. So
Okay.
like 2 minutes faster. I did a 3 mile run at a 12 pace for 160 heart rate. So it's definitely getting a little bit better and it feels easier.
Yeah.
But I started off like, oh, I'll just do a 5K and see if I can just like grit my teeth and run it, which I did. And my feet, like I'm telling you, that's how I figured out my shoes were wrong. Was I got 1.6 miles into a 5K and was huffing like a
Yeah.
fucking drowning pig, just breathing like I was dying. And I had this like moment of frustration where I was like, people say this gets like when I'm not warmed up yet. When does this warm up happen? So I like start feeling like I'm breathing a little bit easier, and then all of a sudden, both my feet just start to go completely numb. And I mean like from the where my shoes are tied down to my toes felt like static, just floppy static.
Oh yeah.
And then I clopped on them for another mile and a half and finished at a like a 11:07 pace or something, which is so stupid. No prep, didn't warm up. I just stood there waiting for the 5K to start. And I remember standing there looking at people and be like, "Damn, I know better than this. Like I know I should be warming up right now, but I just
Yeah.
like don't. I'm not gonna, and I'm just gonna run." And I did.
Yeah.
So I'm not really known in my own. I'm not a smart starter for a lot of things. I'll just full deep dive.
Just do. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just rip
It's the
it.
best learning experience that way.
Yeah, I don't know. Even kickboxing, I went from like not ever doing it to like I'm gonna do this 5 days a week. I bought barefoot shoes. I did everything barefoot. I had huge bruises on the like ball of my foot, like right
Mm.
under like the metatarsal head of my thumb, like or my big toe, like a
Mm-hmm.
huge like nodule bruise. Because when you kick, your back foot comes down and just like over and over.
Oh
And I was like,
wow.
I'm just gonna do this. And then your coach is like, you have to do 100 kicks on each side before you leave, and you're like, okay. And you have these like giant hematomas on your shin, and I would just keep going and keep going and keep going. I was miserable. And in my head, I'm like, if I just do this for like 3 weeks, it'll get better. And it did.
Yeah. There you go.
So to answer your question a long way, because I normally do, I normally don't do anything the smart way. So I try to tell people like, listen to my advice. Do not behave the way I behave
Yeah.
ever. It's just so dumb sometimes. But it's my own body. That's the thing. Like I'm trying to guide people to not be stupid, but it's my body, and I kind of, I know what it can take and what it can't. So sometimes you
Yeah.
just rip it.
Yeah.
Pray for the best.
Like, I mean, hey, that's how you learn, and that's how you can teach others. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure that's not how you would program for someone, right? Like if you had a new person starting to run, like if I came to you, you didn't know me, and I was like, "Hey, I lift. Here are my lifts. I want to start running and do marathon training. What does my first week of running look like? Is it a
Yeah.
Murph? Is that my first run workout?
Only 3 times a week, Murph. And then no,
You do 3 Murphs?
yeah, 3 Murphs during the week is not. That'll be a good intro. Um, See if you really want it. But I think like with when someone's coming into to running, yeah, a lot of it's going to be easy and just accumulating that volume, right? But also seeing where their weak points are. Um, a lot of run walks. That's
Mm-hmm.
always good, right? That's how to intervals and get those there. I wouldn't worry too much about like go doing those like higher intensity intervals, threshold runs, those type of things, tempo runs, just because they're not they're getting into it. And there's like the psychology part of it where it's like I don't want to give them something that's so miserable that's going to be hard for them to be consistent with, if they're not someone who's ever run before. I need them
Mm-hmm.
to just like do it, enjoy it, kind of feel it, and just get time. So a lot of just running, run walks, cycling, stairmaster, incline walks, different variations of cardio training, I think is the best thing. And then after a few weeks or maybe more, maybe a few months of doing that and accumulating volume and getting that consistency, that's where I'll start testing them for their um, seeing what their paces are, time trials, thresholds, all those things, and start gathering data. And then from there, having a more formulated approach of like, okay, now we're going to integrate these intervals at these paces. Now we're going to do, you know, go for certain runs, and I want you to maintain this pace. I want you to see how you feel when you run X amount of miles at, at your uh, mile pace plus 20, 30 seconds per mile. Playing around with those type of things. And now we have a little bit more data to collect. Yeah.
Fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that would be a really fun way to do it.
Right. That's logically that's what would be best. Do we ever do that? No. I did when I first started running. I think the first thing I did was I did a time trial for 5K, and then I also did a test to test out my threshold, and I went straight from there. And the thing with that is I got those numbers and was like, okay, this is where my baseline is. And then every week it like, for example, threshold especially, like my threshold pace varied so much because it is sensitive to sleep, nutrition, stress. So I wasn't too sure about that. So I would every week I'd be like, I have to maintain this pace. I have to maintain this threshold pace for this run. Like that's just got to be what it is. And so some weeks were like horrible, 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 and other weeks where it was like manageable. And
Hmm.
I was very very rigid with that because I didn't want to budge, and I was like, no, that's what my threshold is. That's what I have to maintain. And so it was like that's what my threshold was at that week, and I wasn't flexible from week to week. Just adding like slowing it down just a tad bit or speeding it up just a tad bit based on how I was feeling. But there were some runs that were so bad, like it was like I remember my heart rate like staying at like a 205 during one of my runs, and I was maintaining that for a certain amount of time, and it was like 205, and I'm like looking at the heart like my heart rate, and I'm like, oh my god, it's not going down, and I feel like I'm dying. And then after just like just like being in the bathroom for quite a bit of time in pain. So again, that was dumb. It did not have to be that hard, but you live and you learn.
Yeah, I mean sometimes you got to learn from stupid.
Yeah.
And it's fun. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it really doesn't work out, but I don't know. I've always had kind of a fun time doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. There
Just
was
'cause.
yeah. There was one time where me and Marley were on the Air Force Base because they have an outdoor track. So we were doing a track workout, and obviously you're going at a faster pace, shorter distances, faster pace. I don't know if I had 400s or 800s during this workout, but whatever it was, I forgot how many sets, but the last set I could not complete because I started getting really bad stomach pain. And I get really bad stomach pain when I like push it a little bit too much for too long. And I'm like, oh no, we're outdoors and I'm getting stomach pain. And so the Air Force gym was across the street. So I was like, oh great. Okay. At least there's a facility I could go into. It was Sunday and it was locked.
Oh my
And
God.
so I go up to the I'm like, oh no, oh no. And so I'm like hunched over because I have this pain. I'm about to crap my pants and I'm like heading over and I like I finally get to the gym and I'm looking through and I see someone in there and I'm like, oh my God, I need you to open the door. So I'm knocking on the window for them to open the door and she like looks at me and just like doesn't know what to do. And she's like, well, there's a rule, right? Don't open the door for people who, don't have access. So she like kind of keeps walking and I'm like, no, this is the worst. So I'm like hunched over just waiting and I'm like sweating bullets and I'm like, this is bad. And I thought I was going to throw up at the same time, this whole thing. Someone finally opens the door. I like run to the bathroom and I was there for like 20, 30 minutes. Like Marley finished her workout. She cooled down. She did the whole thing. And meanwhile, I'm like struggling in the bathroom. It was bad. Never again. I would never risk that ever again.
Hell yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
those are the stories you live for, though, you know.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that
Yeah.
make life the best.
Yeah.
That's where the fun comes from, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good stories. God, I really was struggling so hard.
Yeah,
Yeah. I was like,
that sounds
it was a,
awful.
yeah, it's a public restroom, so it's not the cleanest. And I'm like literally on the floor because like I'm sweating so
Oh
hard that
no.
I needed like something cold. So I was like, oh my God, I just have to lay on the floor of this bathroom and just like lay there just to get like the cool tile.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
That
it's
sounds
gross.
like death.
I've gone to some low levels in life.
At least you're not a germaphobe.
Yeah, at that moment I couldn't be. I'm not
Does
normal
that?
either way, but
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, are
yeah.
you normally?
No. No.
Yeah. See, you said I laid on the floor, and it didn't even clock to me that that was gross. You know, it just is what it is. Like, just go shower. People get
Yeah.
weird about that. Like, don't lick your arm. You know,
Yeah.
that'd be fucking weird. Wash your fucking hands. But, like, if you stood up and were like, yeah, and I was really curious about the taste, so then I licked my arm
Yes.
to see what Air Force public bathroom floors tasted like, that I would be like, yo,
Then you would
you got to
question it
talk to
kind of.
someone, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't even register to me. I'm like, yeah, I would have done the same thing. I'd have probably butt naked, just laying there, like, please make it stop.
Yeah.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, exactly.
It must be done.
For sure. Yeah, so that's my running story.
I don't have any running
Yeah.
stories. I wish I shit myself. It'd be funnier.
Oh, dude,
I
you
haven't.
gotta be like, you have to plan that stuff out.
Yeah.
It almost happened another time when we were running on the Rito and we we were living at apartments that was right off the path,
Hmm.
and we were probably like a mile. We were like 2 miles out, and I'm like, oh no, oh no. And then like at the mile mark, I was like, oh no, oh no,
Dude,
this is getting
fuck, man.
worse. And then like once we got there, like yeah, it was bad. But I made it to the apartment and then again.
Yeah. I will say this. If you're listening to this podcast, if you're one of our fans, and you haven't almost shit yourself, or you're just tuning in for the first time, neither of us trust you. If you haven't shit yourself, too. If you haven't almost shit yourself, or shit yourself, don't trust you. I
Yeah.
just can't. You haven't lived enough life for me to trust you, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. You got to.
It's happened to all of
It's a
us. And
must.
honestly, when people tell me they haven't, I just assume they're lying. And then I just assume you're a liar. And I'm just gonna assume that. Like if
Yeah.
we're, if you've never talked about that with people, you got a problem. But if you openly are like, nope, never done it, I'm like,
Never
you're
have.
so full of shit, dude. You're
But
so fucking stupid. We've all had the flu. All right. We've all trusted a fart in bed sick. That's like that's like the human experience, you know?
Yeah.
Everyone's done it.
Yeah.
It's like when people are like, I don't like dogs. I'm like, you know, I
You haven't
just
you haven't met the right dog.
I can't like you anymore. I just don't think
Yeah.
I can trust you as a person. You don't know what it's
It
like
is
to
weird.
shit yourself, you know?
Yeah.
We can't what are we connecting on then? I have no
Yeah.
idea. But, you know, I wanted to point this out to you. I because I was frustrated, I googled how hard is it to run a 6-minute mile to ChatGPT o3. The estimated VO2 max for this is
Is it in
57.
this?
It's
Okay.
57.
Yeah. Which is
50 is
above
high.
average. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The average VO2 max for an untrained 20 to 29-year-old male 35 to 40, female 37 to 27 to 31.
That low?
So, yeah, so you don't accidentally run a 6-minute mile, you know?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that
That's a
does
good
not.
point. Yeah.
You don't accidentally run a 6-minute mile. And if you do, go do the Olympics or something.
Are there people who are like genetically predispositioned to do so? Yes, with minimal
Yeah.
effort.
Hmm.
Definitely. I've met plenty of them. I've met a lot of them. Not a lot. I've met a handful. That is not the norm, though. That
No.
is definitely not the norm.
No,
And
to
yeah,
your
if you
point,
have,
competitive high school and collegiate athletes, the VO2 max is between 55 and 65.
yeah, yeah,
So,
for I would say like a lot of the elite endurance athletes, it's usually testing them. They're in their high 50s to high 60s. So
hmm
yeah. So if you have a VO2 max, what did it say? 57
yeah,
milliliters per kilogram
yeah,
per minute. Yeah, that's definitely on the higher side of it. And
crushing it.
yeah, that is pretty insane. So that puts it in perspective quite a bit.
Yeah, I figured you'd like the data behind that one.
Yeah. No,
I'd
that is
convince you with the numbers.
yeah. Yeah. And I think it's an interesting thing to know. It's like you start appreciating it when you know your own. So if you
Hmm.
know your own VO2 max, right? And then you hear something like that, you're like, "Oh god, like I'm at
Yeah,
45 or whatever
yeah,
your VO2 max is." And like to run a 6-minute mile, you need a 57, on average,
yeah.
statistically speaking. That's pretty crazy. Yeah. But I
Yeah,
do think
that
that's one thing I wish was more accessible to people is like being able to have access to getting their VO2 max because it is fun.
we got to
It is
do
fun
that.
to
Why
know.
did we drop the I dropped the ball. I emailed that guy and forgot to set up an appointment with him to get pricing for that.
Oh yeah. Oh, we can still do it.
I
But
should I should reach out and be like, "Hey man, you should check this podcast out. These people are super sick. You should be the first sponsors."
yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah.
We
He's
have
gonna
like
listen to
30.
this episode. It's
Yeah.
like they're talking about shitting themselves.
Yeah. Dude, if he hasn't, I don't want his
Yeah.
business. So,
He's either gonna trust us or I don't know.
yeah, I'm
If he doesn't
trustworthy.
trust us, then that's a bad sign on him. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a
We're
red
both
flag
willing
for.
to admit
Yeah.
it's happened.
Yeah.
We're adults.
Exactly.
Weirdos. Um, yeah. That's what I got. I'm trying to look up what percent of people can squat 2 times their body weight because I also think that like the Peter Attias and some of these like here's what strength metric you should do like 100% of your body weight split between your hands for 60 seconds. I don't think people understand like for what are we talking about? You don't
Yeah.
and I think you train for that, but you certainly don't accidentally fall into that. Like
Yeah.
the grip strength required just to do that is pretty high by body weight. And I've done it. Like I can do my body weight split between my hands for a minute. It's not fun. It it hurts so bad. Dead
Are you
hang for
saying like
two
a farmer
minutes.
carry hold?
Hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I have to do like hundreds in each hand. It's no fun
Yeah.
at all. I can do more in a trap bar, but that's I don't know. Yeah, because it doesn't move as much. It's easier to hold it in my hand, but
Yeah. It's also distributed a little bit more amongst the bar, so
hmm
it's not as concentrated on each hand.
hmm yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So roughly 1% of men can squat 2 times their body weight.
Really?
It's 25 to 35% of guys who actively train with a barbell can do 2 times.
Hmm.
And for females, it's sub 5%. It's the elite cutoff for women is 2 times their body weight.
Mm.
So I think, yeah, sometimes I think these numbers get thrown around. To your point though, like about having the perspective of what that means when you have, like when you know your own VO2 max or you know your own squat. Like I can squat, give or take 2 times my body weight, but
Mm-hmm.
not right now with the running, but I have. And when I see someone squat, you know, 2.5, 3 times, I'm like, what the fuck? Because I know what 400 pounds feels like on my back. I
Yeah.
don't want to find out what 600 pounds feels like on my back. That sounds horrifying. So,
Yeah.
and like running an 8-minute mile, thinking about running a 6 is like, you want me to do that 2 minutes faster? I threw up.
Yeah.
So,
It's
and
pretty
I'm
crazy.
hopefully people talk shit to me about it and say like, you should be able to do it, because then I'll make them do it with me. You know, like, come on, we'll go do it.
Yeah.
You come run with me. I'll puke my eyes out. It'll be a good time. Maybe I'll shit myself. Who knows?
Yeah. You probably will. And it would be a great story.
That's funny. All
All
right,
right.
Day. Is that it? Is that the end of the episode?
I think so. We're at an hour mark. I don't want to bore
Oh
people
yeah.
too much. So.
And if anyone at the gym, if anyone who listens to this gets to this part and Day leaves it in, and you say something or comment something, I will find you and give you a $5 bill. I'm not joking. If anyone listens to this deep, an hour and 2 minutes in, I will give you a fucking $5 bill.
Yeah. I would appreciate it if they did.
Comment $5 if you see this.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do. Comment $5, I'll find you.
And also subscribe, like, and share.
Oh yeah, and comment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do what Day said, or she'll shit herself.
And I'll do it regardless.
Okay. Thanks for
All right.
watching, everybody.
See you guys.